You know, the other day, um, some whispers started going around about Andy Muschietti making a comment that the Batman movie, Brave and the Bold, or whatever it will actually end up being called at DC, is being put on hold until they figure out what's happening with the merger. And somebody brought that up on the show the other day. And Jonathan, you'll remember this. I said, one of the viewers sent in a question about that. And I said, I don't think that's true. Like, I don't think that's real.
Mhm.
I said, well, I mean, if it was real, maybe it's just James Gunn wanting to be considerate of whoever's going to come after him, because, I believe James Gunn, as soon as the middle of 2027 comes and he gains the contractual right to walk away, I think James Gunn is going to get out of Dodge, because I don't think he has any interest in working for the Ellisons. So he's going to get out. And maybe he's thinking, Batman is such a huge project, maybe I shouldn't start movement on something when somebody else might want to go. I said, maybe that's possible, but I don't believe it. Well, as he does, James Gunn also saw everybody talking about that rumor, and he decided to respond to it. Now, just so you know what this is all coming from, it started with an exchange, I believe it was on Twitter, where somebody wrote, Michael Johnson is reportedly, I love when people say reportedly when they're not saying where they heard it from. They just say it's being reported. From who? Anyway, Michael Johnson is reportedly in negotiations with DC Studios to play Dick Grayson Nightwing in Andy Muschietti's Batman Brave and the Bold. To which Dan Marcus replied, I have no idea if this is true or false. I'm assuming it's definitely false. But I did hear from Muschietti that all work on Brave and the Bold is on hold until after the merger is settled. And that's what my viewer brought up to me. I said, I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's true. And sure enough, James Gunn has weighed in. Not long after Marcus addressed it, he hadn't realized that the Johnson post was from a parody account, while adding, Hi, Mike. I was referring to the Michael Johnson rumor being false. I did, in fact, hear from Muschietti. That part is true. Sorry about any confusion. However, users brought Marcus's claim to James Gunn himself, as the latter responded on Threads. It doesn't sound like something Andy would have said, but the project is in no way on hold. So this one guy claims that Andy Muschietti told him that work on Brave and the Bold is on hold. To which James Gunn said, number one, that doesn't sound like something Andy would say, because nothing is on hold. Nothing is on hold. So we're left with a couple of potential options here of what's going on. Option number one is the person reporting that Muschietti said that is mistaken. Either they misunderstood what was being told to them, or maybe somebody posing as Muschietti told them something, or maybe they made it up. I don't know. I don't know the person involved, so I can't make any commentary on that. The second possible option is that, yet again, Andy Muschietti and James Gunn are not on the same page. Because, Rob, you remember a couple of years ago, almost an identical thing came up where Andy Muschietti said something publicly and James Gunn had to come out and say, no, that's not true. And it just kind of became clear that these two guys were not communicating with each other and were probably not on the same page. I guess another potential option here is that, until there's something to go to the director about, and James Gunn still isn't happy with where any of the scripts are at right now, that maybe Andy Muschietti just took radio silence as things being on hold and just kind of said, oh, maybe I guess things are on hold. I mean, I don't know either way. But whichever way you look at it and for what the cause of it is, James Gunn has come out and debunked the idea that it's on hold. They're still moving forward with it and trying to get it right. Now, I have expressed on this show my frustration as a fan, just as a fan, that, we are now a number of years into the DCU. We are about to have our third Jimmy Olsen thing. Because, of course, we've had Jimmy Olsen in Superman. We're going to have him in The People vs. Gorilla Grodd, and we're going to have him in Man of Tomorrow. So we're going to have 3 Jimmy Olsen things before we have Batman. And I find that to be an interesting choice. At the same time, I think James Gunn and probably everybody over there understands, okay, look, you can get a Clayface wrong. And if you get a Clayface wrong, it's a bump. It's unfortunate. It'll sting, but it's Clayface and everybody will move on and forget. I think there's even room for getting Supergirl wrong, which they did. Because it's Supergirl. It's a B-level derivative character. I mean, it would have been great if it had turned out as well as I was hoping it would have turned out, but it didn't. That's whatever. You can't mess up Superman, and thank God they didn't. And you can't mess up Batman. You can't mess up Batman. You cannot deliver a mediocre Batman. Especially, look, under the best of circumstances, you cannot deliver a mediocre Batman, especially if it's your first Batman movie, but you especially cannot put out a mediocre Batman if you're coming off of a failed Supergirl movie. You can't do it. You can't. You put out a Batman, whatever it's going to be called, movie in like 2028, while the memory of Supergirl is still in everybody's mind, and if that movie turns out flat, I'm not going to say you're dead in the water. It's recoverable, but you're on life support. You're on life support. So I cannot help but wonder if, I mean, number one, Rob, we know he said before, look, I'm not putting anything out the door till I'm completely happy with the script. He has said before that we want to really make sure and pay due attention, he called, to Batman because he's Batman. But I also can't help but wonder if the floppening of Supergirl has ramped up the pressure on what Batman is, and he wants to make sure it's got to be absolute gold. I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't have to be the Dark Knight. It doesn't have to be as good as Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, but it needs to be really good. It needs to be really good. And so I wonder, and I'm just speculating here, I wonder if that's part of what might be holding things up a bit. So I don't know. I mean, again, I never bought the idea that anything was on hold because clearly a lot of things are in development. They've got a lot of things moving. They just announced stuff about the Grodd thing, which, by the way, has kind of won me over. The description of the, what was it called? What was it called? The People versus Gorilla
versus,
Grodd? Versus Grodd. I was very skeptical about it, but when they made the official announcement about it with the title and what the actual story was going to be, it's kind of won me over. So I'll give the benefit of the doubt for now, but yeah, look, I'm still in the place, Rob. Where the hell's Batman? Where the hell's Wonder Woman? But I also kind of get it if the pressure is on them to really make sure, because you can trip with Peacemaker season 2, although I thought Peacemaker season 2 was great. You can trip with Clayface. Well, Clayface looks really good. We'll see how it turns out, but you can't trip with Batman. Anyway, Rob, you saw this. Somebody saying Andy Muschietti said one thing. He never said it publicly, by the way. James Gunn is saying that doesn't sound like me, Andy. No, that's not true. I don't know. What's your takeaway from all this?
Well, I mean, look, obviously there's a Batman movie being made right now and I can't wait to see it. You know, and I just think that when it comes to the DC universe, we just have to let them cook. We'll wait and see what's happening. You know, with Andy Muschietti talking about his involvement, I mean, it's been back and forth, and would I like to see him make a Batman movie? I would. But I honestly, John, I think the DC universe was presented to us as this fully formed, sort of fleshed out universe, phase 1, whatever. It was gods and monsters. Here's our big plan. And half of those things are never going to reach fruition that they talked about. And I kind of wish that I didn't know that they were going to make a Batman Brave and the Bold movie, so I wouldn't be waiting for it. I mean, they created this expectation in our minds that they're going to do these things. And so do I even think this movie is going to happen? I think it is going to happen, but it doesn't surprise me that it's been delayed because I think they're going to they want to stay really far away from the Batman 2's wake. They want to stay away from that and not create any kind of confusion. And I think Andy Muschietti is very respected by the studio, by Warner Brothers. James Gunn knows that. They probably really like each other. And you and I are Flash fans.
Yeah.
So he's already made a superhero movie that is very worthy, despite what everybody else says. I am an unabashed fan of that movie. Is it perfect? No. but I quite enjoyed it. And I really love the portrayal of Supergirl. And I like seeing Michael Keaton come back. And the ending with the multiverse was weird, but I liked it anyway. But I think that Andy Muschietti is a very effective filmmaker. I think he could probably do something great with the character, and I hope they have a great script. And I think, I think the DCU has been a little weird, to be honest. And I think that they're veering into sort of these secondary characters. Look, if Clayface is a banger and they made it for a little money as they did compared to the other big superhero movies, I think that, and I'm enjoying what they're doing with Lanterns, despite the fact that everybody keeps coming at me and telling me what it's supposed to be like. I'm like, you guys didn't even read 70s Green Lantern comics. What do you know? And I want to see where it's going to go, but I'm willing to wait. Let's see what happens. We've got Lanterns, 6 more episodes, and then we've got Clayface coming. That's all. That's to speculate about what's going to happen or what's not going to happen. And we know we're getting Man of Tomorrow. So that's not a bad slate. We have 2 DC movies coming. Now, are we supposed to sit here and, speculate about a movie that we have no idea where it's at in terms of its script, in terms of its casting? Although I think we might hear some news.
Yeah. Well, we'll come back around to that another time. But
yeah.
The thing about Andy Muschietti is I'm with you. Flash, I don't care what anybody says. Like Flash I thought was a very enjoyable movie. I had a really good time with it. And there's I see some people in the live chat, but the majority of people didn't like it. Actually, the audience rating is 81%.
Yeah. Majority of people didn't go see it. Those who did see it liked it.
Yeah, the majority of people didn't go to see it, but the people who saw it liked it. 4-1 people liked it. Yep. And that doesn't mean if you didn't like it that you're supposed to like it. Not at all. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. Nothing wrong with that. But I thought Muschietti did a really good job with that. And then he does Welcome to Derry.
Which was fantastic.
I loved it. Welcome to Derry.
He crushed it with that.
Was really good.
But I'm still not sure he's going to end up directing this Batman movie. I've said this for a couple of years. It just seems like him and James Gunn aren't on the same page, and maybe they do get it together and they make it work. But we will have to see. All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? According to James Gunn, those rumors going around that anything is on hold, like pending to find out what happens with the merger, completely not true. They're still moving ahead, trying to get everything developed that they can. Whatever you guys think about all that, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Quince. August is a great time to reset a few things before fall gets crazy, and one of the easiest places to start is your closet. That's where Quince comes in. Quince is all about fewer, better pieces made with premium materials that are designed to actually last. We're talking ultra soft organic cotton tees, Mongolian cashmere sweaters, premium denim, and tailored chinos starting at just $60. And here's what really stands out. Quince prices everything 50 to 80% less than similar brands by working directly with ethical factories and cutting out the middlemen. So you end up paying for the quality, not some giant markup. I've already ordered a number of things from their store. As a matter of fact, I love this shirt. It looks great, and most importantly, it's crazy comfortable. Upgrade your everyday. Download the Quince app for app-exclusive offers, or go to quince.com/Campea. Get free shippings on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/Campea.